Did you guys hear? The deep state is actually awesome and is a great thing to have. At least that's the opinion of this New York Times opinion video. And so let's see why they are being talked about.
I will totally obliterate the deep state. I will fire.
Donald Trump is obsessed with the deep state.
The deep state, the deep state is destroying our nation. Either the deep state destroys America or we destroy the deep state.
And many Republicans are widening his paranoia.
These unelected bureaucrats ruining this country.
From a cabal of security agents to
The sick political class that hates our country.
if elected, Trump's vowed to gut the federal government.
Reinstate the Schedule F executive order and, quote, fire rogue bureaucrats.
But who are these bureaucrats and what makes them so dangerous?
Fair question.
We needed answers,
All
so we took a
right.
trip across America
In 100 yards, take the exit.
in search of the people behind this threatening entity.
Comedy cut.
First stop, Huntsville, Alabama. Sure looks like some nefarious government activity happens around here.
Sarcasm to take the wind out of sails.
Your destination.
Meet Scott Bellamy.
I am a mission manager in the Planetary Missions Program Office.
He drives a Nissan Titan 4x4. He's loved Star Trek since he was a kid.
Of course I have a favorite character. It's either Captain Kirk or Mr. Spock.
And he may have quite literally saved the planet from annihilation.
Potentially.
You see, Scott managed a mission
That's
called
pretty cool.
The Double Asteroid Redirection Test.
And back in 2022,
DART.
his team used your tax dollars to pull off something kind of incredible.
You have an asteroid and you have a spacecraft, and you fly the spacecraft into the asteroid and try to change the trajectory of that asteroid. It's like playing pool in space. Everybody was holding their breath. You know, this is the moment of truth. Did we hit it?
We got it?
And we have impact. We triumphantly personnel.
They knocked an asteroid off its course, proving something that had previously only been done in movies.
Saving the world from an Armageddon scenario. Potentially.
Cool. Seems
Next,
good.
we traveled deep into the swamp itself, Washington, D.C.
You have arrived.
This is Radhika Fox.
I am the Assistant Administrator for Water at the Environmental Protection Agency.
She loves Pilates, making salads, and watching the Taylor Swift Eras Tour on TV with her family.
That's called humanizing someone.
1989.
Oh, and she led an operation to make our drinking water lead-free in 10 years.
Fucking sweet.
Worried and angry about lead contamination, residents of Newark, New Jersey are demanding bottled water and answers.
Lead is a neurotoxin that can cause irreversible brain damage. Folks are drinking out of these pipes right now.
Every single American child will soon be able to turn on that faucet and their moms and dads know that the water they're drinking is clean.
When President Biden announced a nationwide plan to remove lead water pipes, Radhika's team made it happen.
Yep, that's right.
And people wonder why I hate city
Utilities
water.
would be legally required to replace all remaining lead pipes.
$9 million in 10 years or less.
It's an expensive bet.
$50 billion. But those benefits are truly priceless because it's the well-being of this nation that's at
Yeah.
stake.
Exactly.
Want to replace your own water pipes?
Not too
Got
expensive.
skills to launch an asteroid-deflecting spacecraft?
It's just rocket science.
That's why your tax dollars pay experts like Radhika and Scott. Important work like this is happening all over America. From helping 2 million victims of the opioid crisis, to engineering major breakthroughs in nuclear fusion,
Cool.
and helping make hearing aids affordable for 30 million people.
Really?
Yep, the deep state is hard at work, making America great. Just because we don't know about it doesn't
Again.
make it suspicious.
You have arrived.
Our final stop, Chicago, Illinois. Meet Nancy Alcantara.
I am the Acting Director of Enforcement for the Wage and Hour Division for the Midwest Regional Office for the U.S. Department of Labor. I had to take a breath, yes.
She still eats Lucky Charms for breakfast, trains for marathons.
Those two
and
don't
loves
seem to go
line
together.
dancing.
Boom, cumbia, bachata, cha-cha-cha, you name it, I did it.
And she uses your tax dollars to get kids out of working in dangerous slaughterhouses.
13, 14, 15-year-olds working on the kill floor, cleaning body parts, right? Animal carcasses. They're working with machinery such as skull splitters, bone splitters.
Nancy and her colleagues raided slaughterhouses in several states and found more than 100 children working illegally. Last year, their employer, Packers Sanitation, was fined $1.5 million, one of the largest child labor cases in American history.
Kids would die, kids would get limbs amputated. I don't even want to imagine what would happen if no one did this job.
Absolutely horrible.
These guys work for you, but Trump wants them working for him.
Trump wants to
Wait, what? Okay, that right there just doesn't make any sense at all. If they work for us because they're public servants, because they're part of the government, unless he has a privatized space force, a privatized water mandating, like water regulation thing, but that inherently can't be privatized, or a privatized raid force that goes in and busts child labor law violators, then by firing them from the federal government, he won't be able to hire them, unless they're saying that once he's president, then they'll work for him, in which case they currently work for Joe Biden, not for us. And also, he's never said, I want them to work for me. He says, I want them gone. So just so we're clear on that. So that just doesn't make fucking sense. What he just said, he wants them to work for him instead of you. That's just,
fire at least thousands of these people.
Yeah, he wants to fire.
Calls pejoratively the deep state.
Schedule F would allow Trump to fire up to 50,000 of them and replace them with like-minded people.
Sometimes it's really hard to read the newspaper where
he has the power to hire people for the positions. With Schedule F, he can fire people from positions. You can fire them, hire new ones. Yeah, it's something that the president can do.
You know, you feel like we as public servants are being attacked.
Now, this doesn't mean that Americans can't have different ideas about how big the federal government should be. After all, there's no shortage of examples of real government overreach and overspend. But Trump's teaching us to expect the worst from people in government, when the truth is, they're actually some of our best.
Here's the problem, though. Trump isn't teaching people to expect the worst in government. The government has taught people to expect the worst from government. Trump is not the cause of issues going on in this country. He is the symptom that has arisen out of all the issues that are going on. And people vote for him because his message resonates with them. They're already feeling this thing. He goes out there and says it, and they're like, yeah, this is right. So it's not Trump who's got people like, oh, government official, bad. It's the government that's gotten people to go, oh, government official, bad. People have been hating the government for long before Trump, okay? He's just one of the few people that have actually gone into the system advocating against the system. Now, did he do shit perfectly? Oh no, he did a lot of stuff wrong. But he did a lot of stuff right too. But that's for another time. And that's the end of the video. But so this whole deep state stuff, they seem to be wonderful people in good positions that we need. For example, where's the photo of all of them? There, like these three people, they seem to be in good positions. We need all these. Like, if that's the deep state, fuck, the deep state's awesome, bro. Like, they're doing shit that we all agree with. Except that's the problem. They're not the fucking deep state. They are, by definition, not what Trump is referring to when he says the deep state. Merriam-Webster, deep state, an alleged secret network of especially non-elected government officials and sometimes private entities, such as financial services and defense industries, you know, Lockheed Martin and all that, operating extra-legally to influence and enact government policy. I should say influence and enact government policy, yeah. Wikipedia has a thing on it in the United States, according to conspiracy theory, so you shouldn't listen to it. Deep state is clandestine. It's a network of members of the federal government, especially within the FBI and CIA, working in conjunction with high-level financial and industrial entities and leaders to exercise power alongside or within the elected United States government. The term, it says originated in the 1990s, as referenced Turkey, but began to use to reference American. But then it also says the term is precedence since the 1950s including the concept of the military-industrial complex, which posits a cabal of generals and defense contractors who enrich themselves through pushing the country into endless wars. Question, when was the last time we weren't at war? Just a question. When was the last time we weren't funding a war? And by funding, it's really shipping however much dollars in ammunition, firearms, weaponry, weapon systems, whole like fucking missiles and shit to other countries to use. And by the way, those, missiles and stuff that our government is saying that we need to send to these places, they're manufactured by private corporations because the government doesn't make the weapons. Private corporations make them, sell them to the government, and the government has them shipped across seas. So, defense contractors who enrich themselves, because if there's more wars and just endless war, they're always making money from wars by selling weapons to the government that just write the check. And anyways, Trump referred to it working against him and his administration's agenda. But anyways, dictionary.com. The term deep state is used in the context of theories to refer collectively to unelected government officials who are said to conspire to control the federal government and its agencies from behind the scenes in order to promote their own agenda. So by that definition, these people inherently aren't part of the deep state, because everyone agrees we should not get hit by an asteroid. Everyone agrees we should have clean fucking drinking water. Everyone agrees that children should not be getting killed in slaughterhouses, all right? Everyone agrees on that shit, or at least the over fucking whelming majority of people do. We all agree with them, which means that they are not using power behind the scenes in order to promote their own agenda. You see, the deep state is when the government is doing shit behind the scenes to push their own agenda that the people don't like. And the thing about the deep state is that they're not, what do you want to say, responsible? I can't think of the word. But they cannot be punished by the people because they are not elected. There's already elected officials who are so corrupt, but basically everyone agrees that, like, hey, we shouldn't, pass a bill that would say, keep a government official who's on a committee that governs and writes laws for this sector of the financial industry. They shouldn't be allowed to invest in that industry. Why don't we have a bill that says that? Oh wait, maybe it's because the people sitting in these committees are using their insider knowledge on what laws are and aren't going to be passed to trade stocks better than professional stock traders. What's the joke? You want to make a ton of money off of trading stocks and actually have a better stock trading portfolio than even like the top professional stock traders, then just follow whatever Nancy Pelosi is trading. Like, just follow her trades and you make money. Like, it's literally what some people do. They just go like, hey, what's she doing? I mean, there's other government officials too that you can follow to be like constantly making money on stocks, because somehow this person with insider knowledge is making a bunch of money from the stock market, or the people who are adjacent to them are making a bunch of money from the stock market better than professionals who monitor this stuff. Why don't we have a bill that stops that? Oh wait, because they're incentivized to not pass a bill that says that, to not pass a bill that says that they can't do what they're doing. But the thing is, with an elected official, if they do shit that we're like, hey, we don't like what the fuck you're doing, we can then elect someone else. We put them there, we can take them out and put someone else there. They have to face repercussions if we actually mobilize. The deep state are unelected, which means they can only be fired and then replaced or just completely gotten rid of by like the president or anyone who's above them in the government. People don't give a fuck when someone's redirecting an asteroid that might hit us, when someone's making our water drinkable, when someone's protecting children. People don't give a shit about that. They don't call that shit the deep state. They call the deep state the people with their own agenda that are operating behind the scenes to wield influence and power, to enrich themselves, gain more power, and all that other stuff. So by definition, this is not the deep state. That's the only issue with this. But yeah, New York Times is getting a lot of flack for this type of shit. And I'm honestly not a fan, personally, of the New York Times. I don't care if they're 87.5 out of 100 NewsGuard certified. They are still corporate media. And oh, what was that? The deep state works with corporations and institutions, supposedly. Like, this is why I think it's ridiculous that the overwhelming majority, I think, of like the mainstream media or news outlets have government or ex-government officials that contribute to their outlet, in what can, maybe be hypothesized, and what has led to a common feeling that a lot of news media is influenced by state operators, by government people with governmental interests, people with establishment interests. And that's why I largely don't get my news from places like the New York Times. I go to independent journalists. If you care to hear who, maybe put in the comments, I might say it. If this video gets 20 likes, I'll pin a comment that says the news outlets that I watch on the regular, or that I think are generally all right. And I mean like the independent ones, because I don't watch corporate media. They have so much fluff stories that it's like, I will watch them to critique them though. I will do that, as you can tell by the videos on my channel. Oh yeah. But the point is, if you have a government influenced media outlet, then you by definition can't have true journalism, because the government can say, hey, don't publish this article that you're going to do that's exposing wrongdoing that the government's doing. And the outlet, being influenced by the government, will be like, okay, hey, yeah, you got this article? Cool. We're not going to publish it. And then they just don't publish it. And they just push it down. Don't let anyone see it. Maybe years down the line, they'll let you go, oh yeah, this was a thing. Or like they'll quietly publish it, saying like, oh yeah, back in there was this thing going on back then, but that's back then. This is now. You can trust us now. No, it's fucking stupid and ridiculous. Like, but you can't trust a state-influenced media outlet. It's like how you might hear like, oh, Russian TV or Russian state TV. It's the state media outlet. Of course, there's not going to be hard-hitting journalism taking place on an outlet that is influenced, at the very least, by the government. At least not, hard-hitting journalism that hits hard at the government. But whatever. If you found this informative, please like the video. Watch one of these two. Peace.